Hey, it's Luke from LT Gaming, and today we're heading into the rain-soaked skies of G-Rebels, a futuristic combat flight game where you patrol enormous cyberpunk cities, chase criminals between skyscrapers, and gradually begin to wonder whether the people giving your orders are actually the good guys. Before we get into it, thanks to G-Rebels and Sonatas for sponsoring this video. As always at LT Gaming, all opinions are our own. Right, I know what you're all wondering, and yes, G-Rebels does take inspiration from G-Police, the ambitious 1997 PlayStation classic that placed you inside a futuristic VTOL aircraft above the colony domes of Callisto. It rebuilds that same fantasy as a modern open-world experience filled with cyberpunk megacities, combat, racing, and handcrafted missions, which is really refreshing. I was able to play the expanded build, which should now be out for you all to enjoy. Check it out on Steam. So activate your Skyblade, avoid the police scanners, and fire a missile at that like button as we take a closer look at G-Rebels. G-Rebels is an action-focused combat flight game developed by Rector Studios and published by Sonatas. The game takes place in the year 2684 after catastrophic events have left most of Earth underwater. I mean, yeah, that could be the future very soon. And it's forced the survivors into enormous floating megacities competing over the planet's remaining natural resources. You know, your usual kind of dystopian backdrop there, and we'll go with it. You serve as a member of an elite unit working for the most powerful city-state in the Atlas Archipelago. Using an advanced flying vehicle known as the Skyblade, also happens to be my internet gamer tag, you patrol the metropolis, protect transport routes, and fight organised crime. And along the way, you're forced to make some choices. I won't spoil those, but it adds an extra layer to the mission gameplay. The important thing really is that G-Rebels is not attempting to become an enormously complicated flight simulator, and I welcome that with the mission structure. There are cockpit views, different weapon systems, and support for more advanced flight equipment, but the game is primarily built around action and focused missions. You launch into this absolutely beautiful cyberpunk city, one of my favourite settings in a recent game I've played. Receive your objective and then race through checkpoints, pursue enemy aircraft, protect important targets, or travel into different sectors of the world. The early access launch will feature up to 20 hand-picked missions, including the complete first chapter with 9 story missions. There's also a nice range of side missions here to keep you immersed in the world, like races, bounty hunting, escort operations, and smuggling runs. These are all great activities that provide some variety outside the main campaign. The build I got to play also had some areas beyond Davos, providing a first glimpse of additional megacities across the Atlas Archipelago. I got like this weird feeling when playing that game. I was so immersed inside of it, and when I was traveling to different sectors, this just really excited me. I have to say, I just love cyberpunk stuff. The world is also designed to be seamless with no traditional loading screens as you fly between its buildings, industrial areas, and surrounding environments. While absolutely incredible dynamic weather, I have to say some of the best I've seen in a game. Volumetric clouds and realistic changes between day and night transform the atmosphere around you. There's even an optional insane graphics mode for high-end PCs, which is a pretty cool thing to see these days. Native VR support will excite many of you and is a major addition for the early access release. I did try this briefly, but I'm not much of a VR gamer these days, but it did look pretty cool. Mouse and keyboard worked very well for me, and I also tried my Xbox game controller, and that also worked. There's also support for more advanced HOTAS and HOSAS setups, so the simulation people out there will be happy. As you complete missions and earn credits, you can also upgrade your Skyblade. Engines, weapons, and shields can all be improved, while the wider equipment system includes technology such as AI-controlled drones, multi-warhead missiles, and stealth devices. That should allow you to prepare the aircraft around the mission, whether you need additional speed for a race, which I often did, stronger shields for combat, or more specialist equipment for something more discreet. Just a quick interlude to say most of you who watch the channel are not subscribed. So make sure to go down below and hit that subscribe button, because it helps smaller channels like us grow really quickly, and both me and Tom really appreciate it. On to what excited me while I was playing this one. Well, the main attraction for me is undoubtedly the atmosphere. Flying through Davos feels like moving around a city inspired by Blade Runner, with enormous buildings disappearing into cloud cover, neon signs glowing through the rain, and streams of airborne traffic moving between different levels of the skyline. I often enjoy this sort of ambience when I'm relaxing, and there were times in this game when the rain was coming down on my windshield, and I just enjoyed sitting there watching it all and taking it all in. It was really awesome. The city definitely feels far more than just a background for most of the missions. It has a sense of scale and personality that makes simply flying through it enjoyable, especially when the weather and lighting begin to change around you. There were moments when it genuinely felt like I was flying around one of the cities I built myself in Dystopica, except now I could move between the skyscrapers, chase enemies through the traffic, and occasionally fire missiles into them. The music is also a huge part of the experience here. Its electronic cyberpunk soundtrack fits perfectly with the rain, dark skyline, and neon lighting, and it immediately brought me into the mood of the world. The atmosphere is really the central strength of G-Rebels. It is what makes even relatively straightforward missions feel like part of a larger futuristic police thriller. The mission-focused structure was another part of the game that I actually really enjoyed, much to my surprise. Instead of trying to be too open world, G-Rebels gives you designed scenarios with their own routes, objectives and challenges. During my time with the build I had, I was racing through the city, taking down enemy aircraft, protecting trains and flying into new sectors. Each mission had its own flavour, and the variety made the experience feel more like an older action game where individual levels were designed to present a particular challenge, rather than simply sending you to another marker on the map. One mission in particular, and I will say this was a bloody hard mission, required me to avoid police scanners while moving through the city. And I probably played it around 20 times before I eventually completed it. Normally that level of difficulty would put me off, but here I found myself wanting to keep trying. That's definitely unusual. I kept changing my route, controlling my speed more carefully, and gradually learnt where the scanners were positioned until I finally managed to make it through. If you buy this game and get to that mission, you tell me if you complete it, because it was bloody tough. And you know what, that difficulty actually felt quite refreshing. G-Rebels is not afraid to let you fail, and some of the missions require you to learn the route and properly understand how the Skyblade handles. When I eventually completed that scanner mission, it felt like I'd mastered it rather than just simply surviving. That was really rewarding, and it made me think about games a little bit differently. That era where games were very hard and you had to actually get skilled, that's gone away a little bit, so it was great to see it return here. The Skyblade itself finds a good balance between being accessible and still requiring some control. It doesn't fully roll, and I did see some people giving out about this in the Steam forum, but overall I get it. It's not actually an aircraft, right? It's supposed to be kind of a futuristic space vehicle. I found the flight model didn't bother me at all. I got that it's a different type of craft, and I enjoyed zipping between buildings. Combat is also really cool when you're pursuing vehicles through the city. There were times I even used skyscrapers as cover. You've got your main cannon, which you can upgrade, but then missiles also, but they do require a little bit more skill, which is also good to see. Essentially, it's great to see what G-Police tried to do back then with limited technology realised in 2026. Guys, the graphics here are an absolute standout. The size of the buildings, volumetric clouds, lighting and constant activity around the city create an environment that feels massively more ambitious than a collection of isolated mission maps. In my version, my performance was also rock solid overall, which allowed me to enjoy the scale and visual detail without technical issues constantly pulling me out of the experience. I did see some people complain about performance in the demo, so it could be on an individual basis. G-Rebels is entering early access, and the main thing it needs is simply more content to flesh the experience out. What is already here left me wanting more missions, more places to explore, and more reasons to remain inside this world, which is obviously a positive reaction, but it also means the developers need to keep expanding the game consistently. Up to 20 missions provides a meaningful starting point, especially when those missions include story operations, racing, escorts, bounty hunting, and smuggling. However, a world this large will eventually need enough content to make those cities feel properly used, rather than existing primarily as impressive scenery between campaign objectives. The developers need to deliver on the early access roadmap, continue opening new parts of the Atlas Archipelago, and introduce additional mission types. Repeatable content would also be very welcome. Bounty contracts, police emergencies, races, smuggling jobs, and other dynamic assignments. But I mean, this is a good thing, right? I wanted more reasons and more opportunities to stay in the cockpit and continue flying in this game. The biggest thing in G-Rebels' favour is that the basic act of flying around the world is already highly enjoyable. The city has a strong atmosphere, the missions I played had genuine variety, and the Skyblade is a vehicle I wanted to keep controlling after completing the available objectives. Like I said, G-Rebels is launching into Steam Early Access and should be available by the time you see this video with up to 20 missions. Let me know whether you remember playing the original G-Police, and let us know what you think about G-Rebels so far. Subscribe for more space games, strategy games, and futuristic worlds here at LT Gaming. I've been Luke, and I'll catch you on the next one.